Namaste. Welcome to your practice. This is a 30-minute gentle class to prepare your body and mind for rest. So we're going to start seated. If it's uncomfortable for you to sit on the floor, I want to encourage you to prop yourself up. I'm seated on a blanket right now, or you could even do this part in a chair if that feels better. We'll begin with a little movement and include some meditative work as we go along. So let's begin here. Pause for a moment to make sure that everything's as comfortable as it can be. And then let's start by gently dropping chin toward the chest. And then lifting gently, gaze toward the sky. So just like a little nod, only going as far as feels really doable and really comfortable. Tuck the chin, rounding down, maybe feeling a little stretch through the back of the neck. Keep the shoulder blades down, and then lift the chin, unfurling the front of the throat. Let's do that one more time, tucking and rounding down. Shoulder blades stay down for this part. And then curling up, looking toward the ceiling if that feels okay. And back to center. Now nice and easy, over the shoulders. Turn your head to look to your right, only going as far as feels comfortable for you, and to the left. Now, when we start this movement, we're just going right and left. I want to invite you now to see if you can let your eyes take in the room as you begin to turn the head from side to side, so that you can really see with your eyes and take in whatever there is to see. Whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, just really noticing what's there with you. Maybe seeing if you can drop judgment. One more time to your left. And then back to center. Now before we move on, we'll do a little check-in. See if you can notice your body now. You've begun your practice. There's been a little bit of movement. What do you feel in your body, if you can notice anything? Does your energy level feel a little bit high? Do you feel really sluggish and slow? And see what you can find. And we'll continue with the neck gently dropping right ear to right shoulder. It doesn't matter how far you go. Back to center, left ear to left shoulder. See if you can feel the body gently dropping the ear. Noticing how the neck can move in this direction, however much it can move. It doesn't need to be big. And then we're going one more time to the right and to the left. Now, as you come back through to center here, let's lift the shoulders toward the ears. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and drop them down the back. We'll do that 2 more times. Big movement. Up, together, down, apart. One more. Like a big shrug, rolling back. Good. And then we'll do a little bit of movement from here. Let's begin now to move the legs into a wide position if that feels okay. You can do this with the legs in any position. If you're in a chair, you can keep the legs just as they are. Let's start by rolling around in a circle. Now, some of us will feel that we're not able to move too far here. You may feel pretty limited. You can explore moving the legs into a different position to see if that feels like it frees something up for you. You could try sitting up higher on an object, or, and really this is the easiest thing to do, see if you can just find what movement is available to you and rock back and forth within that. So you're maybe just leaning a little side to side or front and back. If you're circling with me, let's change directions, go the other way. So although we are headed into a sleepier state, we're trying to sort of settle a little bit through the nervous system. We want to use movement wisely to do that. So we're not just trying to lie down. Sometimes if we just try to lie down with our whole day still inside of us, it's hard to rest. So we're inviting that now to be moved through us, to be processed a little bit, metabolized, so that we can lie down and set those things aside. Let's come back into stillness for a moment. Pause, breathe, and feel. And let's find a little twist from here. Keep your right leg straight and bend your left knee. I'm going to suggest today you try keeping the right leg a little bit long and wide. So rather than bringing the leg straight in front of you, it's out to the side. To begin, we're going to reach both arms out to the side and then lean to the right. So it'll be a twist in a moment, but first we're doing a little bit of a side bend. Now I'm reaching up and over with my left arm, but if that doesn't feel good for you, you can just keep the hand down. Or it might feel interesting to bring your hand to the back of the head, as long as that doesn't put any pressure on your neck or feel uncomfortable. So I'm looking for stretch through the side seam of my body here, maybe all the way up into my arm. Let's take one more breath as we are here. And then lift yourself back up. Take a turn to your right. Let your right hand come to the floor or a block or whatever's behind you, maybe even a wall. Sometimes that feels nice. And then we're turning the chest to look out over the long straight leg. And then maybe we're turning a little further. Once you've arranged yourself into the twist, see if you can let yourself be there. One of the qualities of a restful night's sleep is that we're not trying to do anything, right? It's just happening. So let's practice that now. You probably had to do some amount of effort in your day-to-day, right? You at least had to get up and do some things that maybe you didn't even want to do. Now we can let go of some of that striving and see if we can just let ourselves be where we are. So I've moved myself into the twist, and then I'm just inviting myself to drop in there. Whatever it is, however it is, just letting it be. Let's take one more breath there. And then come back around through to center, and we'll change legs. So I'm going now to bend my right knee, straighten the left leg, and set up for the second side. Take the arms wide, lean to your left. Maybe the right arm comes up over the ear or holds behind the head. Maybe there's something else that feels better for you in your body. It's really common and it's really easy for us to bring a quality of effort or striving into our yoga practice. And sometimes we want that. Sometimes we're trying to make something happen, and that's important. But right now we're doing the opposite. Right now the practice is to see, can we just let ourselves be the way that we are? Let things move along in the way that they need to so that we can be a little more easeful. Last breath here in the side bend, and then walk your way back up and turn. Left hand behind you, right hand rests wherever it wants to. We're in that little twist. Now we've lengthened the side of the body, so sometimes that's helpful. Sometimes that lets us feel as though we're able to turn a little bit more. But then once you've turned as far as you're going to turn, then the work is to drop the work and see if we can just let ourselves be here. Maybe the hips are a little heavy. Maybe we're asking the shoulders, would it be okay if they relaxed a little bit? Is that possible? Maybe, maybe not. We're just looking. Let's take a final breath in and out here in this twist. And then we're coming back around through to center. All right, a little more movement from here. Let's transition to tabletop. We're coming to hands and knees. You know that if you need some cushion, you can put some cushioning under your knees, maybe a blanket, something like that. And now we're going to do a little rocking here. You can either have your toes tucked under, that's what I'm going to do, or you can have the tops of your feet down. But we're going to start to rock backward and forward. Just rocking back and forth here, feeling some weight coming into the hands. There's a natural light engagement of the stabilizing muscles of the core here. So we don't need to like pull in the belly or do anything like that. We're just letting the body be naturally held by the muscles that move it forward and back. As you come forward, maybe the eyes look forward. As you go back, maybe the eyes look back. Let's try 3 more of these. I don't care how big they are. And if it's feeling like it's really extreme, then I want you to make this feel more manageable for you. Last rock here. And then we'll come back to center. Now, a little bit of a repeat of something we did earlier. Let your hips sway to the right as you turn and look over your left shoulder. So now we're stretching the neck. And then back to center. Let the hips glide to the left as you look over your right shoulder. Let's do that a few more times. Hips go right, gaze goes left. Hips go left, gaze goes right. One more time on each side. And then back to center. Now, just a little work with a lunge. Step your right foot forward to the front of the mat. If it doesn't get where you want it to go, just use your hand, pick it up and bring it. You can have your hands in so many different places here, so if you're feeling uncomfortable, feel free to experiment. We're going to be rocking backward and forward here too. So now my front knee just bends and straightens. If you have blocks and it's not too inconvenient, you can bring a hand to a block, maybe on either side of the leg, or it might feel good to have the hands on blocks on the inside of the leg. See what works best for you. Or maybe hands on fists if the wrists are uncomfortable. The essence of what we're after here is stretching into the hips. So let it be something that's doable for you, sustainable for you. As we're rocking back and forth, I want you to think for just a moment about how you might help yourself to be in your body a little bit more right now. So instead of thinking about the mechanics of what you're doing, or instead of maybe reviewing something in your day or thinking about what's to come tomorrow, see if you can feel maybe one thing, maybe the feeling of the floor under your right foot, maybe the stretch through the front of the left hip as the body comes forward, or the stretch through the back of the right leg as the body goes back. Let's take just a few more of these. You can let the head hang if you like. Really seeing what you can notice and what you can feel. And then the next time that the body comes forward, we'll change legs. So if you have your hands on blocks, you can keep them there. We'll just step one foot forward and the other leg back. And then we're rocking here, forward and back. This particular practice is so much more about what we're experiencing in our bodies rather than what it looks like. So I want this to be something that's useful for you. If you're feeling like something I'm suggesting isn't a good fit right now, if you're feeling like it's too much sensation or too intense, then you are more than welcome, of course, to choose something that feels better for you. As we continue to move here, if you're with me, rocking back and forth, stretching into the front of one hip and into the back of the other leg. You might check in with your body again and see, what can you notice? What's that energy level feeling like? If you had a stress level that you noticed, has that started to shift or change at all for you? And then the next time that your knee comes forward, take the time that you need and wiggle or walk or scoop that leg back. And then we're back in our tabletop position. Let's take 3 or 5 rounds of cat and cow if that feels good to you, letting the belly drop and rounding the spine. 2 or as many more of these as you like, really. If it's a lot for you to be on the wrists, then come on down to the forearms. Let this be really low key here. I'm just going to do a few with my forearms on the floor to show how that might work. And you can also do these with your forearms on blocks if that feels better. After you've taken a few cycles of this, pause for a moment and then see how it might feel to drop into child's pose.
Hips coming back toward the heels, if that's something that feels good for you. You might need to take the knees a little bit wider. You might need to prop something up under your head or under your hips. You may find that child's pose isn't a shape that feels good at all in your body, and so it might be better for you to move into a downward facing dog, if that's a shape that your body enjoys. Or you might enjoy some more movement, maybe moving the body in a circle or rocking again, or just sitting and breathing quietly. Let's take a few breaths here, wherever here is for you. And then let's meet again in our tabletop position. Again, if it's uncomfortable to be on the wrists, come down to forearms or elbows at any time. Let's step the right foot back behind us and tuck the right toes under and get a little stretch through the right calf muscles. Now, I find it helpful here to walk the hands or the elbows a little bit forward so I get a little bit more traction, letting the head drop perhaps. And then it's not always easy, but I'm going to offer it as a suggestion. What if you could let your belly relax here? What if you could let some of the abdominal control that you've kept in your body throughout the day, if you have, what if you let some of that go? So you continue to press your heel back, stretching into the back of the lower left leg. Still maybe looking for a little softness in the belly. We'll change left knee down, right leg steps back. Again, you can be on hands, you could be on elbows. I like to walk the hands forward so I get a little more traction here. And then as I stretch into the back of my right lower leg, into my calf muscles, I'm going to see if I can just encourage a little more softness through the belly. Now, it might not be possible. It's just something to explore here. Let's take another breath or two. And then knee back to the floor. Let's come back to a seat for just a little more work before we lie down. Let's take the legs wide one more time as a starting position. And then keep your right leg straight and bend your left knee as we did earlier. Now we're getting into the inside of the legs a little bit more. So with the legs wide, so my leg is not straight in front of me, it's out to the side, that straight leg. Let's bring the hands forward if they'll go forward, and then look for a little rocking left and right here. Now, you may feel like, oh, it would feel so good just to lean forward and kind of flop in, then go ahead if that would feel good for you. If you find that your body doesn't enjoy that, or if it simply doesn't go that way, that's okay too. We're doing a little lean or rock or sway side to side here. See if you can notice if there's any effect so far on the body's breathing, if that's something that you're able to notice comfortably. Notice those tension levels, if that's something you played with before. And then for a few breaths, maybe just 3 breaths, see if you can let yourself be as you are here, maybe even letting the chin drop down toward the chest. If the movement feels good, you can stay with it. One more breath here. And then lift yourself up. Lean a little bit over to the right. So we're just freeing up this left shoulder a little bit. Now I'm going to shrug just my left shoulder up together, so the shoulder blade comes toward the spine, and down and apart. So just a shrugging circle with my left shoulder. And then go the other way, so the shoulder blade comes in, up, away, down, in, up, away, and down. One more like that. And then bring the spine a little more upright, and we'll change legs one more time. Before we dive into that forward fold, pause and feel for a moment. See that you're okay here. Make any changes you need to.
And then you might stay upright if this is feeling like enough, just leaning side to side. Or maybe you come forward a little bit. Maybe you drop right in. Now, I would normally encourage folks to stay with their experience, to keep their eyes open, to stay present, but just for this practice, just for now, it might be helpful to close the eyes and feel inside a little bit, but see if you can stay with the feelings of your body. So it's really about this meditative quality of awareness. For the last few breaths, maybe letting yourself drop towards stillness, not needing to make anything happen. See if you can just let yourself be how you are in this moment. And then let's walk it back in. If it walked out, go over a little bit to the left. Now this is just to sort of free up a little room for this shoulder to move. If this feels awkward or you feel like, oh, man, I'm not sure I'm doing it right, no stress about this, okay? All we're doing is practicing moving the shoulder blades. So even if you think you're doing it wrong, you're doing good work. Let's try here to lift the right shoulder blade up, pull it toward the spine, pull it down, pull it away from the spine. So it goes up, in, down, apart, up, in, down, apart. Now let's take it the other direction. It goes in, up, apart, down, in, up, apart, down. Just one more like that. And then bring yourself upright one more time. Okay. Take both legs straight out in front of you for a moment. Let's shake them out a little bit. And then invite your left heel to pull in toward you. If it's available to you to step the foot to the outside of the right leg, give that a try. If not, you might benefit from sitting up on something, or you can stay right here with the foot in its own lane, not crossing over. Then we'll bring the left hand behind us. Now, if the floor is far away behind you, as it is for me, then you might prop the hand up on something. We're gently inviting this thigh to cross the body and then turning the belly and the chest as you look over the shoulder. Now, as you do this, if you feel like, wow, I'm a little stuck, or my belly and my leg or my chest is getting in the way, then you can walk the foot forward a little bit. Give yourself some clearance. You can even lean back and move the body around as needed. And then we settle in for a few breaths. You might even take the elbow to the outside. I'm just going to lay my arm across the outside of the leg. That feels okay for me right now. Now we did some work with the neck, with the shoulders. See if you can just see if they might be able to soften away from the ears a little bit. Knowing especially if that's a place where you hold tension, that this is just an opportunity to see, is the tension ready to drop away here? And then we'll come back around through to center. Before the second side, take a moment and see if you can feel the work that you've done so far in your body. And then we'll change legs here. Left leg straightens, right leg steps in, and the right foot crosses to the outside of the left leg. It feels good to bring the thigh across the body. You can gently pull it here. And then right hand behind you, gentle rotation. So again, I'm just going to wedge my arm to the outside of the thigh. And sometimes I find it helpful to lean back and get a little more kind of clearance for the flesh around the low belly and the hip to turn. And then again, just as we did earlier, see if you can allow yourself to release any need to try to get anywhere. And just let yourself be exactly where you are here. Let's take another breath or two. And then we come back around through the center. Uncross the leg. Pause for a moment. We'll shake it out here. So now I'm going to give you a few options. The first option will be to lean forward into a forward fold. Even if you feel like you're not going very far, that's fine. Another option would be to move into child's pose. So we've done that already. Or it might feel good to lay on your back and just have the knees bent with the soles of the feet on the floor like this. So one of these options, either forward fold, child's pose, or laying on your back with your hips in this flexed position, the knees pointing upward. Let's take a few breaths. Let yourself experience whatever it is that you've chosen. And then when you're ready, take your time to join me here on your back, knees bent, feet on the floor. Reclined pigeon, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. You might stay right here, or you might prop your left foot on a block so you get a little bit more of a stretch. Or if it feels good in your body to pull the knees in, you can do that. Wherever you are, see how it is. And here too, this little rocking side to side can be really nice. So we're closing in on the end of our practice, but see if you can stay present with yourself for these last moments. Knowing that if you did choose to do this before sleep or before rest, that you've got a rest coming. See if you can still be in your practice for another moment or two. As you rest here, before we transition to the second side, if you know that you're somebody who tends to hold tension in your jaw, you might unhinge your jaw slightly, almost as though you were holding like a ping pong ball in your mouth, and then let your chin move side to side. Unhinging your jaw, move it a little bit. And then let's find the second side of our figure four pigeon. If you're using a block under the foot, you can bring it to the other side, or you can invite the knees in if that's right for you. Or maybe you're keeping it just really low key and the foot stays on the floor. If you've been enjoying this rocking or sort of undulating or pendulating movement, feel free to do that, a little rock or a lean side to side. Now, for the last piece of our practice, uncross the leg and bring both feet to the floor. Only if this feels really comfortable in your body, feet together and knees wide for reclined butterfly, reclined bound angle, Supta Baddha Konasana. If that feels at all like a strain or uncomfortable, then just find a position that feels good to you. Now, if it does feel okay, feet are there, and then see how it feels to bring the hands to the belly. As you breathe in, see if you can let the belly softly lift into the hands, no forcing. And as you breathe out, see if you can let all effort fall away. Breathing in, the belly lifts. Breathing out, the belly drops. No effort. The breath, if possible, is in and out through the nose. And now the breath becomes almost effortless, like the wind moving through the trees, the breath moves through the body here. Now we're right up against our 30-minute time slot. So listen, if you are ready to go to bed, maybe you can crawl into bed right now, maybe you're already in bed. If you have some things to do and then you're going to bed, that's okay. But here's an offer. When you do get into bed, arrange your legs in a comfortable position, maybe the same one you're in now. Bring the hands back to the belly and see if you can find the same soft breath in through the nose, the belly lifts. Out through the nose, the belly drops. Just easy and natural. Breathing in through the belly and breathing out, letting all the effort fall away. So we'll close our practice right here without a big formal goodbye. Take a moment if you like. Conclude your practice with a moment of intention or a moment of gratitude for your body, for this time you took for yourself, for this practice. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Be well.